So good morning, guys. Welcome to Unique Not Different with me, Shamla. And today, I woke up yesterday morning and early in the morning, and I saw this news that there was this murder suicide, and it so happened that a young girl was murdered, and her father then killed himself, leaving behind her brother. And that sparked a lot of conversation where persons saying that they don't know what parents going through, and things showing persons going on the child side, persons going on the parent side. But for me, there are many questions to be asked about this, and it shows that there's a systematic break, a systematic gap, and we have to realize that these things happen, and these things happen behind closed doors, because not every story you would hear, but this one happened to be tragic, because lives were lost. And with me, I have a well-known advocate, activist, and co-founder of Autism Spirit, Tracy Hutchinson Wallace. And she, when I called her yesterday morning, she was actually devastated. She could barely talk. Our conversation was like, yes, I'll be there in the morning. That was it. And now today, I want to delve a little into, the system and government role, not only government role, but the parents and students. And there's so much. So firstly, good morning, Tracy, and thank you for coming.
Morning, Shamla.
So I will begin. When a child with a disability in general is born, is there any way that their information is taken and lodged so persons would know, okay, I have to visit this family to see what is going on or what is being done?
Shamla, that's really difficult to say, because the Central Statistical Office has data that they get from their enumerators when they go out into the communities. But enumerators have come back to say that they would walk into a home where there is clearly someone living there with a disability, but the head of household is not counting them as a person within the house.
Right.
And the enumerator has very, very strict guidelines on what they can ask and how they can ask questions.
Right.
And that right there is one of the things that you touched on in your introduction. The breakdown, the gaps. The system failed this family.
Yes, I agree.
Across the board. Of course, there are some conflicting information coming out about what exactly was the situation. But let's go back to yesterday, when the first information we had was that this father killed his autistic child and then committed suicide.
Right.
I think people need to understand that this is not a question of caring for someone with disabilities is a tragedy, that caring for someone with disabilities is impossible, it's hard. Parenting is just hard. I mean, we all know that, especially in this day and age. But where things get particularly tough for parents and caregivers is the lack of systems and supports and services. Now, successive governments will tell you, including this one, that there is everything available.
Right.
But that's not the case.
Exactly.
Those of us who are there in the trenches know that if you can opt out of the public system, then you do so, because every parent wants to do the best they can for their children. I'm not going to fault parents for that at all.
Yes.
If you have the resources to opt out, to do whatever you need to outside the public system,
right,
and go through and do it. But most of the people on these two little islands don't have those resources and must deal with the public system.
I fully agree. And not stereotyping, but being generalized. There are families with persons with disability, children with disability are being born into. And these families, some parents never went to school. Some families cannot read, cannot write. Some families cannot comprehend what is a nonverbal child. And so in terms of that, don't you think that the social intervention, like social welfare officers,
needs to be more, needs to do a lot more.
And they need to be, in terms to the Ministry of Social Development, they need the support to come in and give guidance.
I agree with that, because I do feel that a society, a nation, needs to work very hard at protecting and supporting the most vulnerable people among us. And because disability is something that affects everyone, regardless of class, race, religion, or anything else, chances are you will get the average number of disabilities in poorer households. But because also those households may not have the resources, financial, educational, intellectual, mental, emotional, to handle these issues on their own, because society as a whole is discriminatory. We know that being disabled is a trial for the person who is disabled. And for those who are trying to support them in their entourage, their parents, their caregivers, we need to do a lot more, all of us, to ensure that we get the resources that we need. That begins, as I said before, with information, with data. And then it goes on to everyone in the country taking a personal responsibility to do good, to do what is right. The mother with her two sons in the video that went viral. For those of you who may not be aware, her son was accosted at one of the health facilities.
By the
child
guard.
is severely autistic, nonverbal, and there was some interaction and altercation. People need to be aware that you begin by doing no harm. You begin by trying to help in all circumstances. You do not begin by laying down laws. You do not begin by making rules. And if you, Joaquin Phoenix said it nicely, and I want to thank Michelle Foreman, my co-founder for Autism Spirit, for pointing that out. His brother once said, run to the rescue with love, and peace will follow. Yes. If you approach every interaction that you have with anyone, whether or not they're disabled, of any strata, then the outcome is likely to be a good one. I am, based on what has happened with the father, with the child, there has just seems to have been a history within the family, within the community, of not trying to go to the rescue with love.
And in terms of, I know that, you know, in terms of persons with disabilities in general, right? We do not have access to public transport. We do not have access to housing. Just Sunday, right? Even my mom will sometimes lash out because my mom is getting older and she loves what she do. I know she does, right? But she gets frustrated. Any parent will get frustrated and just lash out.
Correct.
But then I would say, I cannot help it. I cannot go outside and simply say, I need a taxi to go where I want to go. And I am very verbal. But what about, you know, persons who are non-verbal, persons who cannot defend themselves, persons who, when their parents die, what will happen?
And that's a discussion that I think all parents have with each other, with their entourage. They can't die. They can't afford to die. And we worry what is going to happen to our children. And in that worry, we also often forget ourselves. And we start compromising our medical health or financial health or emotional health or mental health.
I see that. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say other than other people need to step up because we can't do it alone.
Exactly.
We can't do it alone.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just in closing, is there any way persons can reach out for support immediately?
I would really suggest that people start with organizations like the Consortium of Disability Organizations,
Yeah.
because they will be able to point you in the direction of any other disability organization that works with you. In terms of autism, there are so many people now who are doing a great job,
Right.
whether in Tobago, Autism Tobago, Support Autism TT in South. Autistic Society has been doing human service for a quarter of a century now.
Yeah.
The Autism Parents Association of Trinidad and Tobago, they have a really great directory that's crowdsourced
Yeah.
of supports and services. It's still nowhere near enough.
Right.
Nowhere near enough.
Right.
But at least you can get information. Of course, we at Autism Spirit are also trying as much as we can to give people guidance
Right.
along the way.
Yeah.
But as I said, the parents of persons with disabilities can't do this alone.
No.
We need the help of everyone else in the country.
Exactly.
Because this is a country-wide problem. And I'm going to say again, yes, we don't know the full circumstances, but whatever comes out of it, I can't blame the father.
Yeah.
I can't blame the child. I can't even really blame the mother
Yeah.
or the grandmother, because a whole set of factors came in and there were too many gaps.
Right.
If a net has holes, but if the holes are too big, something's going to fall out and break.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And
Yeah.
we need to make sure that this never happens again.
And we need to monitor, because this, as I mentioned, this came out in public, but we don't know what
is happening
behind
elsewhere.
closed doors.
If you hear something, if you know something, please,
talk.
please,
Could be a
please,
neighbor.
people,
Talk.
do not
Yeah.
close your eyes.
Yeah.
Don't ignore it.
Right.
Do something.
Right.
And even if the something is just, hey neighbor, can I take you out for coffee? Watch somebody for you.
Yeah.
Even that helps.
Right. I know we're out of time, but
sorry.
next month, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Next month is World Autism Day. So I'm planning something,
Okay.
and I would invite you back
Okay.
and with a few other persons, right? And with the Carrie.
Yep, and the key thing here is that this conversation and conversations like this need to continue.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And not put to rest, because, as you were saying, that a net has holes, yes, and there, even with a safety net, there are gaps.
Yeah.
And there needs to be filling of those gaps to ensure that
And you know what
these
I'm
things can
afraid
be
of?
addressed.
You know what I'm afraid of? In a week time, this will just die out.
And
Yeah.
And it
because
happens in
we
Trinidad.
have a very short attention
Yes,
span.
that is it.
and,
Yes.
and we need to continue this conversation.
Yes.
But we will do so very
For sure.
soon. As you said, next month is
Yeah.
autism.
Yes, it will
World
be
Autism Month,
ongoing.
so it
Yes.
will be ongoing.